How crazy is it that even in spite of being on the brink of World War III, Bitcoin is still holding over $100,000? How crazy is it that the Genius Act has passed through the United States Senate and is heading for the House of Representatives? And how crazy is AI accelerating with all the crazy stuff you can do with it? If you're looking for crazy, well, you've come to the right place. We're going to discuss the essential stories from the crypto market and dive into the AI rabbit hole with the essential tools you want to use to enhance your productivity. And if we're nice to AI, perhaps they'll remember it in the future when they decide to turn on us. So join us today as we make nice with the future overlords and get pumped about where Bitcoin could be heading on episode number 779 of the Bad Crypto Podcast.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition.
Who's bad?
Please don't kill us, AI. Please spare us. We were so nice to you.
We're nice some of the times. I'm like, are you retarded? I told you to do this and you haven't done it. What? Why do you keep not doing it?
I actually,
I'm really nice to AI.
I actually said that today because I asked Dolly to make me an image of the U.S., a cartoon image, a whimsical image of the U.S. and Iran at war. And like, no, I can't do that, but I can make you a picture of an eagle and a Persian cat that are. So this is what's behind me in my background today, and I'm like, it's lame. And I know you've been diving deep, deep, deep into AI and using the tools. So after we get done talking about crypto today, I want to pick Travis's brain and get some direction on which tools you're using. Can we do that?
Go. Yeah, it sounds great. This will be a fun episode. Just the other day on, I think it was the 17th. Yeah, it was 2 days ago. Jumped on a big space and we actually were there live while Senate was passing the Genius Act. Now, the Genius Act is what does it stand for? It is the Guiding and Establishing National Innovation for U.S. Stablecoins Act. Typically, I always look at these things with a stink eye, Joel, because like, oh, it's the Patriot Act. It's for patriots. And what happened? They stole away our security, right? It was not for patriots. The Federal Reserve Bank. It's not federal. It's not a reserve. It's not either one of those. And a lot of times they'll name these things, oh, it's U.S. aid because we're here to help people. No, it's actually money laundering organization, and it's not that. So I look at Genius Act and I go, man, hopefully this is what it says it is. And what it's going to do essentially is allow banks to hold stable coins at a 1-to-1 ratio, Joel. So for every one stable coin, you got to have a fiat dollar. So to me, that could inherently change the U.S. banking system because they've been relying on fractional reserve banking for so long, right?
You're correct. And I think what gives me some optimism over this is A, we know we need regulation, right? And two, this bill was proposed by people who are very pro crypto. Like Cynthia Loomis has, a hand in this, as do other senators that are very pro crypto. So the idea here is to create a pro growth regulatory framework for payment stable coins. Bill Haggerty is a Republican senator who is a sponsor of the act, says this bill will cement U.S. dollar dominance. It will protect customers and it will drive demand for U.S. Treasury. And now it's going to be heading to the House of Representatives. By the way, it passed 68-30, which means there was a bunch of Democrats that joined in as well. Trump is saying this is great. House, don't change anything. Pass this as is, send it to my desk, and I will sign it quicker than I can sign a big, beautiful bill. And you made a point when we spoke a few weeks ago that's really stuck with me. about the value of Ethereum and why Ethereum has such a bold future. And what you brought to the attention is that the largest stable coins, USDC and USDT, are both built on the Ethereum rails. And I think that that is, a really big deal, especially as we take a look here at CoinGecko, and you see
Yeah.
that Tether is number three with a market cap of 155 billion dollars, and USDC is number seven with a market cap of 61 billion dollars. You got to go down
That's going to
to
change. It's going to probably be at not too long. It'll be Bitcoin, Tether, USDC, Ethereum,
mhm.
XRP probably would be my guess. And BNB is not too far back with nearly $100 billion in market cap. And somebody else, so on his space today, AGI, who is he actually coined the term AGI like 15 years ago. He's been working on AI stuff for a long time. Really interesting French dude living in Canada, and he says that the reason he likes building all of his stuff on Ethereum is because Ethereum is Turing complete. Alan Turing complete. So I was like, what does that mean? It's like, well, you can build all this stuff. It's a lot smarter. You can do things on Ethereum that you cannot do on Bitcoin. It doesn't matter if you bring in Bitcoin stacks, if you bring in built on Bitcoin, Bob, any other the bit layer stuff, you can't do those same things that you can do with Ethereum. Now, you can do a lot of these things with Solana. A lot of people left the Ethereum Foundation to go work on other projects. Some of them are working on Solana stuff. Some of them are working on Avalanche stuff, what I understand. I know some of them are working on Apex Fusion, which is a project that's popped off that's from Cardano that we'll talk more about later. But so a lot of what I've heard is that a lot of people have left Ethereum. What does that mean? It doesn't sound good. So, but I think the long term frameworks and the rails are in place for Ethereum for a role, but who knows?
It's really underperformed, and so perhaps the stage is being set. By the way, we're recording on the 19th of June at almost 3:30 p.m. Eastern time, and the total crypto market cap on CoinGecko is 3.36 trillion. Bitcoin 104,354. It's been sitting around that 104 level here, only down 3% this last week, in spite of the threats of us going to war with Iran. Ethereum 2,500, XRP 217, BNB 642, Solana 145, taking a little bigger hit this week. Tron 27 cents, up this week actually. Dogecoin 17. So there's actually, there's a few losers and a few winners this week. No major moves, but I am also really
They said
impressed.
Bitcoin Cash poppy popped.
Yeah, I'm
That was up
impressed
40
with the
something now.
strength of crypto, especially Bitcoin, in lieu of what could happen. Now, if the announcement is made that, hey, we're going to war along with Israel against Iran, then I do think fear takes over, and we see a significant, maybe 10% or so drawdown in Bitcoin, which is fear. And those of us who are Bitcoiners would consider a buying opportunity. But look at it, Travis. It's hanging tough. I think you muted yourself, sir, and I know the words you're saying are amazing.
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. So think about what happened to Bitcoin when COVID dropped,
Hmm.
right? When they released the COVID contagion, Bitcoin dropped down to like 3,800, right around 4 grand, a little under 4 grand. And then it went on a historic run, and here we are, right? So, but it dropped pretty significantly, if I recall correctly. I think it was sitting at around 13 or something, and then boom,
So
next thing it's like
that
three.
would have been in early 2020, right about here. It had reached by June of 2019. It was 11,000. It got up to about 9,300 in February, and then boom, it happened. And right here, I think we dropped down to, looks like 5,300 or so.
I got a little bit low. I got lower than that, but it is wild to see how then it went. Then that little trajectory right after that, where it went from 3,800, 4 grand, 5 grand, whatever it was, ballpark. I'm pretty sure it was right around 3,800, all the way up to 60 something K.
Yeah.
That was huge. That's a 20x right there. Now the days of us seeing 20x in Bitcoin are long gone in my mind because it's still going to grow. It's going to double here, double there. But when Bitcoin gets to $1 million, that's because the U.S. dollar is junk, right? Eggs are going to be, 40, $50 for a pack of eggs. Like if a Bitcoin's at $1 million, that's not great for the price of everything else in my mind. And so especially with all the stuff that's going on right now. Well, when Israel goes in and preemptively attacks Iran, they were actually doing some cat and mouse stuff, hiding things, making them look like they were important when they were just sort of decoys. And then they just started a barrage. And it's like, historically, there's a 2,500-year prophecy around this kind of stuff in Persia and Israel. And Nostradamus even said that, oh, there's a maniac that's going to be popping off in Persia because that's what it was. Iran, I don't even know when it became known as Iran. I just always remember the joke, Iraq, Jim, and then I ran. So don't want to, you rack them, hit them in the nuts, and then you run. But I don't know when Iraq and Iran became that because they were Sumeria and Persia and everything else. So they don't, it's not 2025 in their world. It's like 5,000 something, and they don't use the same Gregorian calendar we do. And so today, the day we're recording, is a really big day in the prophecy of Persia, where it says there's uprising and it's a turning. And what was interesting was somebody inside Iran hacked into the news and was video streaming a revolutionary message to the people inside Iran to rise up and to revolt. And so this is a big day, 2,500-year anniversary, according to them, and just a weird prophecy going on. So
Well, I
hopefully this
mean,
doesn't escalate. I don't want China in
no,
it.
of course
I don't want
not.
Russia in it. We don't want that.
There's prophecy that predates all that, though. If you go to the book of Revelation, what's really interesting is in Revelation, it talks about the four horsemen of the apocalypse, which I'm sure that you are familiar with. And the four horsemen of the apocalypse are four different colors. Okay, this is go down this rabbit hole. The first one is white, and he's interpreted as conquest or pestilence. The second one is red and symbolizes war. The third one is black, representing famine, and the fourth one is a pale horse, often described as a sickly green. Okay, now I'm going to pull up this screen from Amazon.com that is Middle Eastern flags. Tell me what you notice about the colors of all of those flags except for Qatar in Israel.
They're hitting three of the horsemen, looks like.
There's most of them: Palestine, Afghanistan, Jordan, Egypt, Kuwait, Sudan, UAE, Iraq. They're all those four colors.
Yeah.
How weird is that?
Yeah. And then Mexico has a similar flag to what Iran has. But I mean, here's all this volatility that's going on in the world. I mean, it's very hot. Ukraine, Russia been going on. India, Pakistan going on. India and Pakistan both have nukes. Russia's got as many nukes, if not more nukes, than America has, right? Israel has nukes, and they're like, sorry, Iran, you can't have nukes. And they're like, well, why can't we have nukes? We're going to blow you up if you get nukes. It's definitely, I think it's a force multiplier in a way where you can't have nukes. Well, why I want to have nukes? Well, we don't trust you. And okay, and so we're gonna bomb you. And they didn't do an act of violence to somebody, but oh, you could do an act of violence. I don't know, man. It's just like it's instigatory. It seems like
Good
it's like
word. Good word.
it's
Instigatory.
weird because like work on diplomacy, and Trump was like, we'll give you 60 days to work on some diplomacy. Day 61, boom, Israel came in and dropped bombs,
You
and
know,
then
Trump has been consistent for a decade or more. He's just saying they can't have nukes. They can't have nukes. And he's not threatening to bomb them. He's like, we want you to just surrender. That's it. Just no nukes. That's it. No
they're like,
problem.
thanks, Daddy. They're like, no, our only daddy is Supreme Allah. And
Yeah.
so these guys are, I mean, look at Iran back in 1979. It was amazing, like beautiful. The women were free to go. They didn't have to wear the rags on their head. They were able to walk around. They had women's rights more so than anywhere in the Middle East at that time. And then the Islamic group came in and they're very sort of over the top extremism. And just in an ideal world, let's just the Persian people are beautiful. They're
Yes.
amazing, nice people. It's their government. The problem is the government doesn't suffer when this shit happens. It's the people who suffer. People
Well,
in Israel, beautiful people. A lot of their leaders suck. And so they come out, they're kind of like, I'm not a big fan of that. Like, let the people live. Let my people go, as Moses would say.
I'm
But
sure most of them would like to overthrow and you have a revolution against their government. So if we get one of those bunker busters to target in there on the Ayatollah, kaboom, blow his beard,
I
to
think get
pieces.
rid of Ayatollah, get rid of Netanyahu, have new leaders come in that are more peaceful because Netanyahu's like going scorched earth everywhere. And I've seen lots of videos of Netanyahu talking shit about how America's basically in his back pocket. And I don't like that guy.
So this is
I think
really
we got to
interesting.
have a fresh leader.
There's an article on Cointelegraph talking about a key metric in Bitcoin volume that is suggesting that we're going to see 130 to 135 in the third quarter. It's the metric is OBV, on balance volume, and the way that it's trending in the past has demonstrated that this leads to newer highs. They saw it right back here more recently. I guess this would have been in early May, and now we're seeing it here again in June. And typically, there's a bump up here, and honestly, it's inevitable. It's just a matter of time, and all you got to do is hodl at this point, and we're gonna get there.
It's indubitably. It's
So,
well. Here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. Third quarter. That's August, September,
what
right?
it's July, August, September.
That's
Yeah.
the end. That's the end of the historic bull run. 500 days after they having. So is 135 going to be the top on this
Well,
one?
it's usually it's around 520 to 540. And I think you can't look at past performance completely when you're looking at these cycles. If that was true, then what happened to sell in May and go away? It's unless we see a big dip down, but that's if it's due to war, that's not something that would
Yeah,
have
that's
been
Black
predicted in
Swan.
the charts. So I think we're entering a different era of the cycles, because how can we, once you have this level of institutional adoption and you have these companies that are these Bitcoin treasuries that ain't selling, they're taking these coins off the market, right? And you have governments that are probably right now quietly acquiring Bitcoin. Where is the big drawdown going to take place? How is it going to happen?
Yeah, I was reading on Twitter, so was chatting with Robert Scoble, and he was like, dude, if you're not using pro.x.com to manage all your columns, he's like, use that pro.x.com. And so I was like, oh, it was like TweetDeck was back in the day, but now it's pro.x.com. So take all your little columns and the different, he's got all those, like, there's no list like Robert Scoble Twitter lists, like for real, especially in the tech space. Go in, grab a few of those lists, put them in different columns. Then you can hit the search feature over on that when you open up the settings and say, I want things that only have 10 retweets or 25 likes and 10 retweets or whatever parameters you want, and that will surface all the best news. And so I've seen multiple people saying, well, what we're seeing now is Bitcoin becoming the world's reserve currency.
Mhm.
Is what we're seeing. And they went into some deep stuff talking about how the world reserve currency, the paper dollar is about to go away. Now, I would say this with the Genius Act, Joel, this could be very good for the US dollar because now all these banks have to hold a shitload of fiat money. They got to hold those treasury notes. If they're not holding them, they're not going to be one-to-one compliant. And then so what are they going to do? Print more dollars and then generate more of those stable coins. And if they create a new stable coin and that's all pegged to the US dollar, then it's going to be the US dollar stable coin, Bitcoin, huh, right? Like it'll bypass everything and go to the top because how many dollars are in circulation? We
Oh
don't
yeah.
even know how many dollars are in
No.
circulation.
Uh, let's go count. We'll be back in a moment. We're going to go count how many there
Right.
are.
How many trillions are there? I
Yeah.
mean, is there half a quadrillion? I don't even know how many dollars are. Nobody's ever done an audit on that. So it's like the worst shit coin of all time because they print as many as they want. We don't know how many there are, and yet allegedly it's still worth $1.
And soon more. Soon there'll be more. So let's take the remaining time here and talk AI, Trav. And you've recently played with a lot of different tools. You're building some cool stuff, and you started a Substack, and actually inspired me to start one on different topics as well. And yours is focused on AI. So there's nobody I know personally that's going as deep as you are. And I have some questions. So if I can kind of treat this like a little bit of an interview and ask you some questions, then you can give some answers.
Go ahead
Uh,
and ask me what
I'm
you
going to
want.
ask you. By the way, did you know that when you ask someone a question, you become an ask murderer?
Oh no,
Yeah.
no, I hadn't considered that.
Nobody wants that to happen. So the first thing is because I was dealing with this image up above, right? Dolly OpenAI doesn't like that you can't get pictures of, real people. And there's so much stuff it won't do because of their content policy. Uh, does Midjourney have the same type of policy, or where do you recommend getting images done the way you want them done? And if you want to screen share and show some stuff, that would be fine.
Yeah, I would say that for that particular thing, it is a little different because Midjourney, it did flag me yesterday because they just released their new video capabilities for Midjourney, right? And so I had a little Trump one that I had done before. He's like a funny little a plasticine type of Trump guy, and it would say, "Oh, our devs don't think that this is a proper prompt, so you can't do that," right? Grok doesn't matter. Grok is the best place to make images if you want to do political figures. It's clearly Grok.
But I
Chat
thought Grok doesn't do images
it does. Oh yeah, it does.
because I
I'm gonna try one.
yeah.
I was
So
playing with one the other day. I was trying to make King Trump because I have an idea for some King Trump t-shirts. I was trying to
mhm.
get ahead of that thing. And then because I made this really cool Bitcoin King guy a while back, and I was doing it, and dude, it wouldn't get it precise. I was like, and I was just trying to do it with my phone. So I was like, you know what? If I'd have went to my Photoshop, I could have polished it and made it work, but I didn't. But yeah, go ahead. Share your screen real quick and try an image right
Well,
on Rock.
I tried it on Venice, and Venice will do anything, right?
Okay.
Now, a lot of times I'm not as happy with the images it creates, but I said create a whimsical cartoon image of the U.S. at war with Iran, and this is kind of this is what it made without giving it a detailed prompt. So Venice breaks through the censors; they won't censor anything, to my knowledge. But I have not tried it on Grok, so let me go. And I pay for Grok, so give me I'll give it the very same prompt that I just gave to Venice, which is Venice.ai. And I will say create images. And let's see it happen in real time here. I'll bring it up. By the way, if you're not seeing the visuals, it's because you're only listening to the podcast, and our videos are on YouTube as well as Rumble and Odyssey. Okay, so you got Uncle Sam. They're not at war though. This one on the left, they're smiling and brokering a deal, and it's kind of funny that the guys on the left here in the red, white, and blue look like the guys on the right because we're
Nah,
all the same.
we're all we're all the same. That is true. All right. So one of the very first things that I did when I was playing around with trying to get this all figured out, and looks like some of the images are broke right now, but I was trying to create a cool podcast experience, right, for our podcast, and but the images are broke. I didn't actually convert this in anything, but I was like, oh, let's have the video here. Huh. And we got a copyright because part of our music now is owned by Warner Brothers or something. That's great. And so I was playing around with this, and I was like, okay, kind of getting the hang of it. And that's just using Manus, where Manus is you go in, you tell it what you want, and it'll start building it for you. It's sort of a vibe coding type of a platform. And so that was really one of the first things that I had built. And then just not so long ago, matter of fact, right over the weekend of Memorial Day. Let me go ahead and stop my Zoom here. Where's my share at here? Oh, there's my share. Stop that share. And All right. Well, let me just go back into that same screen here. That's fine. Share. Okay. So I was like, back in the day, I was like, I want to make a Sudoku app that uses baseball positions instead of numbers. Because on Sudoku, you got numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Baseball has 9 positions. So long ago, I thought, oh man, we could do a baseball Sudoku. And so now what I've done is I created this all in code. I had to level up and start using Cursor. Cursor.com basically allows you to connect to these LLMs and start building stuff. And so I built a little bit. This actually looks way cooler on a mobile device, and you can go to it, baseballsudoku.com. And let's say right here, all right, this looks like this is probably a pitcher. Play ball. Boom. Base hit. All right, so I got a base hit. My dude hit a little ball hit. Now I got a guy on first base right there. Right. So I basically went through and created a whole model around. Oh, I can make a fun game here. Oh, I got a called umpire strike there. That was unfair. Let's see here. This looks like a pitcher also. Base hit. Boom. All
Way to
right, now
go!
I got two guys on base. So,
And this
you,
is all AI. You did this whole thing. Like you
can
didn't
you
have,
hear the sound effects?
yeah, yeah.
So I even went to a St. Louis Cardinals Royals game, and I was recording some of the sounds of the game, which was fun, even when they did their seventh inning stretch. So now this one's going to be a cool one. This one's going to be a triple, and I know that because I'm going to finish a row here. Actually, this will be a double. This will be a row here, and I'll get a grid. So let me go ahead and do this one: catcher, pitcher, first base, second base, third base. I'm missing the shortstop. Double.
Double. Okay.
One
Got
run
the
score.
idea.
There
It,
we go.
very
So there's
cool.
that. That was fun to do.
Yeah.
Next up, let me see here. This one will not actually. I've actually elevated it. It is crypto AI.news. I created this in AI, 100%. I used a tool called abacus.ai to build this one. And I said, you know what? I want to find great news for us to talk about and related to crypto and related into AI stuff. And so built this thing out, did lots of advancements to it, make it a lot better. And then I thought, oh, with my newsletter, I could kind of package this. Oh, actually, I'll show you the other one that I created too, Prompt Daddy. That's another one that I created actually before this one. So I'm
What
going
a
to go ahead
great
and
name, by the way, for a site. Prompt Daddy. Who's your daddy? Prompt Daddy.
Prompt Daddy. Yeah, your prompts are boring. My prompts bang your mom. Let me go ahead and not show my share for the
Yeah, we don't want
login.
to see your passwords. Well, some people might want to see your passwords, but
I'm gonna go ahead and turn that off while I type in the password.
and I love that while you're pulling that up, you're documenting all this. You're talking about it, and I'm gonna share this as you're pulling up that whatever other screens you want. Travis has started a Substack called AI Agent Economy. It's aiagenteconomy.substack.com. And this is where you can go and you can see all these articles where, he's talking about the things that he's built in the last few weeks and how he's done it. This is worthy of subscribing to if you are on Substack. And if you're not, it's free to get on Substack. You can support different writers and creators with subscriptions that are paid if you want, but you can just go and enjoy the content. And this is so much better than social media. It's so much better than what social's
Really
become.
fun. Have really been enjoying it. I've been on there now for like 10 days and have like 75 subscribers and seven people who have the subscription. So it's really cool and it's motivating. It's like, all right, I want to put out great content. I don't want to put out shitty content. And but I'm just spending so much time diving in and trying to learn about all this stuff. And I was like, well, let me teach while I learn, kind of like what we did with Bad Crypto, right, Joel? And so
Absolutely.
let me
Okay,
go
do
back
you
in here. So here is, let's see here. Am I in? I am in. I'm not in. Okay, here I am in. So I'm now into the crypto AI news platform where I have, let me move this out of the way, where I can go ahead and aggregate news. It's going to go ahead and pull in more news. So there's just been 5 more articles that just popped in. So I can look at, here's all the news sources that I have for all the different things. I'm pulling all this news in regularly. It's actively pulling that information in. I can go in and see what are these articles that are popping in right now. Okay, this right here just popped off on Masari. So I can literally click this and go read it and be like, all right, Nice. So instead of me trying to go to look at all these places, I can just put all this news in one place and go and find it. Or if I want just crypto news, if I want AI news, I can go in and do that. And it looks like, all right, so there's some news sources that's popped in on there too on my AI sources. I gotta level up. Something's going on with the AI thing, so I need to go in and fix that. So, but what I decided to do, and thank you for the shout out for the prompt for the AI agent economy. So what I've done is I was like, oh, well, I'd like to have good subscribers, but I want to give them something more than just my words. And so what I'm doing is I'm giving them access to promptdaddy.ai. So this is actually Prompt Daddy. And a new version's coming out that I actually ended up hiring some devs to make it sharp. So there's going to be over 10,000 different prompts, and you can customize those prompts, take those into ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity or Grok or whichever one your favorite one is, and then use those prompts to help you get better information because most people do not know how to prompt. So
Right.
they need to master the art of prompting. So that's kind of what happens here. And then you can pimp the prompt and go
But you
in.
built this whole site, like the background, the images, the copy,
Oh,
all of this is built, and the
100%.
e-commerce part of it too.
The logo, the guy. And dude, I was just doing I was playing around yesterday with Veo 3 and I was creating fun little videos around around this little character too. So it's like because he's a really fun, easy character to sort of play around with. So let me see here. Do I have him?
He
Oh yeah,
needs
here we go.
videos. He
Yeah.
should totally be animated and doing cool things.
All right, let me pull up this one here real quick.
Oh, there he is. Nice.
Okay, let's see here.
What's he saying?
All right, is the audio on?
Go ahead and hit it. If not, you can just tell me what it's saying.
Your prompt goes to college. My prompt's bang your mom.
That's hilarious.
All right.
That's so funny.
So he's such a cool looking, cool, cute guy. I was like, oh man. But I specifically wanted to have an emoji wearing a crown, having a
Yeah,
pimp cane, having a pimp fur. I told it that. And dude, this logo it created, Prompt Daddy logo, it did that in the very first image. That's how great I was like, oh my God, I don't know. There's nothing I need better than that. And so I just went in Photoshop and put a crown on it for that up there, right? So that was pretty cool. And then now the AI agent economy, as you mentioned, that's the Substack. And so if people come in and they do right now, if they do the yearly one, they get access to everything I'm writing, and they get a year of the crypto AI news, and they get a year of Prompt Daddy. So
that's
I
great.
just
So
pull it
I think
together.
that's a great way to close out too. If you guys want to go deeper into the tools that Travis is using to build these cool projects, aiagenteconomy.substack.com, and of course you can tweet him on X, and I'm sure he's got links there to it as
I
well
appreciate that.
at TW.
And follow Joel's Substack while you do it. Yeah. Come
Yeah,
to
I'm
the
still
space and
building
go,
mine. I'm only 3 days into it, so I'll share more about it maybe next week after I've got some more content. But it's pretty cool, and I think there's a lot of opportunity for people to share content there, and whether it gets
yeah.
monetized or not, I think it's a good long-term place to call home for content because I used to use
Go
my
look at
blog
the
all the
free
time.
apps. If you look at the free apps on Android or on iOS, it is in the top 10 on
That's
in most every country.
People don't go to blogs anymore. I used to use joelcom.com. It's 22 years old now. I've had that website, and I quit blogging because then you got to use an email list to drive traffic. And the cool thing about Substack is they've kind of got that integrated. They build your subscribers, they do internal promotion, they share it, and it's just up to you to create content and then pimp it out on social channels if you want to.
That's it. So I've been finding ways to get it on my LinkedIn. I basically on my Twitter account at TWTEEDUBYA. I have my Substack link right there, so they can click on that. On my LinkedIn, when people see my LinkedIn post, it'll say view my newsletter. Boom, it goes to the Substack. And so AI Agent Economy is my next book that I'm working on. And so I wanted to immerse myself in it, have it be my brand in all kinds of places as I'm building. I can teach and then constructing the book. And then when the book's ready later on in the year, I'll have an audience for it. People will be familiar with the brand. That's just kind of the thought process of it. And it's like now I'll say this. I wrote a post about Sam Altman calling idea guys, it's their time. And I can say that I've not had a developer team at my disposal where I can just be like, hey, let's build this. And I'd be like, great idea, Travis. And then we build it. No, I've been, for 14 months, we've been building coinresearch.ai, and that platform is finally done. And it cost almost $250,000 to pay these developers to build this thing. And then in 6 weeks, I built four really cool things that cost $0 for developers.
Nobody's ready for what's about to happen, but there's going to be a lot of people that are out of work. It's coming really quickly. I mean, think about how much we spent on building out all of the artwork for Blockchain Heroes and all the time it took for you to create all the cool looking backgrounds, and how easy, it would be now to create those characters with a simple prompt and then have it make variations of it. And you'd get it done so quickly. You'd be able to create, and it would be in some respects superior, right? It's hard to get past the
Fun. Blockchain,
yeah.
blockchain heroes.
Do you
It re-
remember the last Blockchain Hero series we released, which was the individual AI versions of the cards that, did this little morphing animation thing? And it's so much more advanced than that now. Anyway, a lot more of this to come. We appreciate you guys listening in. Hopefully by this time next week, we won't be at war, and people will have confidence in the market. We'll start to see things moving up. Make sure you check out Travis's Substack, links in the show notes, and we will catch you
You know
guys.
what I'm glad too is that Joel and I are not in war. We've never been at war. You know why?
Because we're friends.
Because we know how to
Bart?
stay bad.
Oh.
We know how to stay
I
bad.
thought
That's
Barts
why.
will keep us together.
Parts
Stay
are
bad.
still funny.
Stay bad. Bad. Stay. Stay bad.
Who's bad?
The Bad Crypto Podcast is a production of Bad Crypto LLC. The content of the show, the videos, and the website is provided for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. It's not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, or trading advice of any kind. You shouldn't make any decisions as to finances, investing, trading, or anything else based on this information without undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional financial advisor. Please understand that the trading of Bitcoins and alternative cryptocurrencies have potential risks involved. Anyone wishing to invest in any of the currencies or tokens mentioned on this podcast should first seek their own independent professional financial advisor.